Hey, what's up, guys? Got another new video for you. This is Tuned In Sports. My name's Bryson.
I'm Steve.
I'm Don.
And today we're swinging at you with yet another NHL hockey video. And we're ready to break down some hockey stuff and, talk about our teams and all the fun that goes along with them. So, as you guys can see, Bennett is not in this video. He was not able to make it for this one. However, we are still going to be talking about the Kings, so we'll go ahead and open up with them real quick. As far as this week goes, they lost both games to the Avalanche. They beat the Blues again, but then they had one of their games against the Blues postponed. So a total of 1-2 for the week. And I didn't really watch any of the games, so unfortunately I don't really know how they went, but I'm sure he can fill you in because they played his team. I think as far as the Kings are concerned, take the wins with the losses, and I think they're headed in the right direction. And I think, like I said before, they're ahead of schedule in my opinion from what I expected them to be. So even though, you see losing to the Avalanche and losing to some of these teams, and it probably can get frustrating as a fan. In a couple of years, you guys are probably going to be right back in the picture, and things are going in the right direction for you, even though no one likes losing. But
What do you mean?
I have no idea.
Why are you looking at me when you say that?
Well, no one
Put some sacks on our head. What are you talking about?
no one likes losing. We just get accustomed to it.
What are you looking at me for when you say that? Oh,
Yeah.
Come on.
No one likes losing. We just get accustomed to it.
Yeah.
That big difference there.
I mean, for my portion for the Kings, I'll try to fill in the best I can with this. It was a really tough week for the Kings this week. Lost 2 games in Denver, and then get caught up in a massive snowstorm, so they get to spend another day there, and then they fly out later that day, and then that game gets postponed. But hey, you beat the Blues is not bad, So again, they're not completely horrible. I just think they ran into a pretty hot team. As we're going along into this season. So again, it's just as usual, the ups and downs of any season. We'll see what kind of moves they make during the year, and then what happens off season. With the goalie situation, because I don't think that quick issue is going to go away. Are they going to trade him? Are they not? They've got obviously some good young talent in goal for them. So we'll see. Again, it's just time will tell with all that stuff. But their uniforms look good too.
That's what I was going to ask. How was their uniforms? Was it up to par?
Well, it was nice to actually let them go back to the Raider silver and black. It's always nice to see silver and black lose in Denver, but
That was a poor choice by the Kings to wear the silver and black.
Yeah, exactly. So, just as long as they
Of course, not that the purple and gold.
I was going to say
better.
that lame purple and gold doesn't help either, but oh well.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, since we were talking about the Avs' destruction, how about we move on to them next?
Yeah, pretty good week for them. They're finally getting healthy. Tonight we get 2 defensemen back. We got Byron and we get McCarr back, so that's huge.
Yeah.
And looks like obviously it's paying off. I think they're up 4-1 tonight against the second place team in the West, which is Minnesota. So again, kind of what I've talked about in other videos over on Dent Sports and some of the stuff that I've had said here for this week or this last week on Tuned In, is that if they can get healthy and start getting this train rolling, that they'll be pretty tough. So
agreed.
Seems like they are moving in the right directions. I mean, the big stat from this whole week is probably the shots on goal compared to the other team. It's a ridiculous amount. Even tonight, I think I saw through 2 periods, which was even before they scored the goal in the third. They were shooting Minnesota 45-13.
Oh, geez.
And that's through two. That was just through two.
Yeah, it
periods.
was 32 at the end of the first.
Yeah, so like I said, 45-13, and I know against the Kings, I know they were over 40 plus, for each of the games. So it's just going to get, like I said, better as, again, they still have one more defenseman in Eric Johnson, and they still have Comfort out, which I think will be coming back sooner than Johnson will. But if they get those two pieces, again, that just puts more depth into the organization, and it's going to be a pretty cool stretch to the end, I think. Again, if they continue to stay healthy and they still get good goalie play from Grubauer.
Well, with the way it looks right now, with how offensive minded they are, Grubauer is not going to be looking at that many shots. There's a lot of time being spent in the other zone.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, the other night I think they had one I think it was Anaheim or whatever. They only had 13 shots, but they got 3 goals. So it was like, God, that's a horrible, percentage with it. While we were at the other end shooting 40 plus, and I think they only had 1 or something. So,
right.
But usually, as we always say before, I'd rather have more shots on goal than not shots on goal, because
no, exactly.
At least weird stuff can happen.
No, exactly. The more pressure you put on, the better chance you got.
Yeah.
And one thing's for certain, those goalies on the other team are like, fuck, they're wore out by the end of the night.
Yeah.
So you play a back-to-back doubleheader against the Avalanche right now. Get ready, mother buff. You better wear some armor because you're going to be taking some shots.
Yeah.
So, no, that's awesome, though. I'm happy to see that the Avalanche are playing well. And I'm actually happy to see the Kings are doing better than we're maybe supposed to be. So they got a lot of talent, and but it's nice to see the Avalanche coming back into prominence again like they used to be. So
yeah. Well, like for instance, I watched a good portion of tonight's game against the Wild. Obviously we're recording right now, so I'm not watching it currently, but from what I was watching, it was just basically the entire time spent on the Wild side of the thing, and it's like, okay, we'll pass from here. It looked like a 20-minute power play. Essentially, and when that's the case, even the best teams are going to have a hell of a time.
Yeah.
It's you got to pretty much, get lucky on some shots or make your shots count when you get them. Otherwise, you just can't keep up.
Yeah.
And you can only ask your goalie to do so much before you just it's the best goalie can only take so much. And right now the goalies are taking a lot when they play the Avalanche. So
yeah, just as a side note, if you watch the second goal from tonight's game, if they play like that on that play most nights, it's going to be a long night for you.
Mm-hmm.
It was just pure. If you're a hockey fan, it was just a pure awesome, just display of hockey skills, from McKinnon to Gerard to Ratinen. It was that beautiful hockey, that is just played when it's done right. It's poetry in motion.
Yeah, fun to watch when it's looking like that.
Yeah,
that's a nice problem. I wish we had it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it looks like you guys got another game against the Wild, and then the Coyotes coming.
Yeah, we're gonna get
going to actually.
Yeah. It's
one of the few times this month.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a break. We get to actually get out of Denver for a bit, and then I think we're coming right back, and we got, I think, the Knights and the Blues. I think. Which will be.
Yeah.
Again,
Knights and Ducks.
Or Knights and Ducks. Okay. But yeah, like I said, tonight's game was a huge statement to say that hey, we're going to take on the second best team in the conference, and then see what we can do. So if we can take 2 from Minnesota, would be amazing. And then, like I said, hopefully continue it on that streak, and then take on the number 1 team. And then if we can compete with that, which we were. Even without the players, we even competed with them up in Tahoe. And, we were in all 4 games that we played against them.
Yeah.
I think we I think we went 2-2. I think with them or 1-3, but every game was close with the Knights. So, like I said, for us to get bolstered back up, and it'll be entertaining hockey.
Oh yeah, should be a really
that
good game.
yeah.
Should be a good series.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing some of that myself,
Yeah.
hopefully. So that's awesome.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the Red Wings.
Yeah, month above.
Speaking of games I watched tonight, the Red Wings, they coming off a nice win against the Stars tonight. Another one of those situations like Don was talking about with the Avalanche game against the Ducks, where they they only had a certain number of shots, but they had 3 goals out of it, and that was definitely going on with the Red Wings, because at one point going into the third period, it was something like 13-32. The Stars had the advantage, but the score was 3-1. So there's a classic example of the shots are few and far between. So when you get them, take advantage of it. And they were doing that. And maybe not the ideal way to win, but hey, a W just a W at the end of the day. And good job by the Red Wings goalie, Mr. Bernier, yeah, I knew it started with a B. Mr. Bernier, good job by him of staying involved and not letting too many through. So and give your your team a good chance to win, even though offensively they were not getting too much in the way of shots and stuff. But good job by them.
Yeah, no, for sure. This is 3 wins in the last 4 games for the Red Wings.
Something like that, yeah.
So I'm really excited about it. It's nice to see. They're still miles away from actually competing at all, but it's nice to see some spirited hockey being played.
3 wins in 4.
Yeah, 3 out of the last 4 games have been wins. So, at this point in time, that's all we can ask for as Detroit fans is trying to crawl our way back into some decent hockey. So I'm excited about it. This team's playing about how I thought they would. When you're just not good, you're not good. And until you get some help, that's what you're going to be.
You're going to continue to not be good. Yeah.
Exactly. The one thing that I can say that I am kind of impressed with is the games that I have been able to watch, which has not been as many as I would like it to be, but the games that I have been able to watch, it does seem like the team's playing some pretty, spirited hockey, you could call it. Like, I don't see a bunch of guys out there just, wishing they weren't there. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's trying hard. It seems like, the coach has got the team playing hard. They're not winning a lot of games, but they're competing in almost all of them. Not very often are we getting whipped out, by 5 or 6 goals. So, that's virtually, at this point, what you can hope for is to be in some games. And then we've lost a couple games in overtime, I think. And so it is what it is. And just, hope it continues to go in this direction. And if they can continue to stockpile some wins and stuff, that's only going to help, their overall mojo with this team. And then that also might be something now that, we're getting to the trade deadline. Maybe they don't have such a fire sale, and maybe start building around what they got. Because I think, some younger talent coming in, it could be a good thing for them. Like I said, we're far from the days of when we used to attract all the main players, but, so it's not exactly the glory days, but it's, we're moving in the right direction, I think. And that's all we can ask for at this point.
Yeah, they're definitely, like you said, just grinding through the process. Like you said, if you can beat Tampa and you can beat Dallas and Carolina, that's good. That gives you some momentum and some like, oh, hey, we can do this, right?
Yep.
So it's just, getting that consistency.
And these young kids, these young guys, because they do have a lot of young guys on the team. That's just building confidence in those guys, to where now all of a sudden, they're not playing like rookies, or they start playing better, night in and night out. And then as you start winning games, it's almost contagious. Like everybody starts to believe.
Yeah. Well, you just learn how to win, right? You see it so many times with football teams and basketball teams where they just can't close.
Mm-hmm.
And once you're able to start to learn how to close games, then it becomes easier.
Yeah.
For you. So no, like I said, definitely, like I said, when you have a week like this, that's something to build off of.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
Yeah, you're not just like, oh wow, we knocked off the Coyotes and the Sabres. Woo-hoo-hoo. We're moving. It's like these are some quality teams that will probably be around in the Stanley Cup playoff conversation, and you're putting up a series with them, so that's definitely a good sign.
Mm-hmm. No, like I said, I'm really impressed by what I'm watching. Like I said, they're miles away. I know that. And I mean, a lot of what I watch isn't good, but some of what I watch is good. Like I said, the young players are playing hard, and I mean, Larkin has proven what he's worth. And it's not easy for a guy like him, that's kind of an all-star type, to sit there and play with a bunch of problem children.
No, you're on the island of misfit toys, per se. I know that when we traded Duchesne in our similar situation, it was like that for him. I mean, he was our star on the team for the Avs, and they were just horrible.
Yeah.
But this is where we got our draft choices and all the stuff that's made the team now. But that was typical Duchesne. We shipped him off to Ottawa, and then we got draft choices from it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he just went from one team to another one. Like, oh, this is another crap team.
Yeah.
So like I said, kudos to the veteran for playing and working through this whole process.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he is a veteran, so he could be the same thing where, hey, if my contract's up, I'll go somewhere. But I put up the numbers here, so
in the meantime, I'll just continue.
Pay me something here somewhere else. But he's putting in the time and he's doing the work, and I'm sure him being a veteran and Stevie Y, I'm sure they have conversations since he's probably the leader of the group.
Oh yeah, he's the captain, and
so
yeah.
So they have talks about what's going on and what's good, what's bad. So again, just like the LA thing, we'll just have to see as it goes through what happens with it. But like I said, this week is the type of a week that you can build off of and instill confidence in the team.
Yeah, I agree. That's the whole. I think that's what should be the goal right now, is let's start to string together some decent wins, like against good teams. Once you start doing that, then when you get up against teams that you have equal talent to, you have a good chance to win those games. I mean, they're definitely not going to make a playoff push or nothing this year, but I mean, hopefully we can get it turned around a little bit and make the season respectable, and with draft picks or whatever, maybe improve. And I don't know what their plan is for trade deadline stuff, but I can't imagine it's too much. Outside of maybe getting rid of more.
Yeah, well, again, yeah. I mean, but this year's kind of weird too, because the Seattle thing's looming, so that's going to throw a little of a wrench.
Yep.
Into some stuff. So we'll see how it plans out. But yeah, I'm sure, like you said, it's Yzerman's done this in Tampa, and they had to do the same thing with the Knights. When he was there. So I'm sure he learned something from that too as well.
Oh yeah.
So
I can't think of a better guy to have running it right now, really, given all the circumstances. I mean, and nobody cares more about Red Wing hockey than he does. He's pretty much the John Elway of Detroit. I mean, he pretty much can walk on water in that city. Given all the championships and stuff that he was a part of, and just the quality of hockey that he played was tremendous. Definitely one of the better players. So, anyways, let's move on, shall we?
Yeah. Well, let's just put it this way. As much excitement as you had about your team from this week, I had about that much disappointment. It's funny to hear me say that when we came out of the week 3-2, but it, on the whole, it was not very pretty. couple of things that I want to say first, though. First of all, in I believe it was the second Rangers game that we had, or no, actually it was the second Penguins game that we had. Well, Tuukka Rask has been out with injury for quite a few weeks now, and so Halak, Yaroslav Halak, has been playing pretty much endlessly, a lot and a lot and a lot. Every time I watch, he's in there, and so kudos to him for stepping up. But I would imagine that he could use a break from now and then. And on the second game against the Penguins, Mr. Shoot, his name just escaped me. What the hell was it? Vladar. Vladar came in, got his first start in the NHL as a Bruin, and actually won the game for us. Had 34 saves on the night, and played about as outstanding as you could possibly play for your first game, and against the Penguins of all teams. That's an accomplishment right there. He stopped so many close ones, and I mean, it ended up being a 2-1 game that we won, and I mean that was just, I couldn't believe it, because the truth be told, both games against the Penguins and the second game against the Rangers, I mean all week pretty much, the biggest common thread that I noticed with this team is we spend a ton of time on our side of the ice, and when we'd have scoring opportunities, it was on like fast break stuff. Like, oh, okay, there's a breakaway, and here's this guy against this guy, and can he manage to get a shot off before the puck gets stolen? And then on the other end, it's a bunch of passing to this guy, passing to that guy, and they're all standing around in our zone. And like I said, I mean, it looked like a 60-minute power play. I'm just saying, that's about what it was. I mean, it looked like a power play because we're just standing there while they're just taking shots at us. And especially in the Rangers game, eventually things were going to start coming through. And that's exactly what happened. We lost 4-0, and it was basically because we kind of just stood there. There was only... it took us till the third period before there was any form of hockey that looked somewhat decent. The rest of the game, it was just horrible. It was really, really bad. I mean, we looked like a team that shouldn't even be close to the playoffs for the majority of that game. And we did the same thing against the Penguins in the first game. I mean, it was horrible. We really did not play well at all in either of those games. And, I mean, truthfully, in the second Penguins game, it was a little better, but it was still more of the same, where they were controlling the puck for the majority of the time. We just happened to knock a few down. I mean, at the end of the day, David Pastrnak, that guy's amazing. Brad Marchand, the usual suspects, as well as Trent Frederick. I'm a huge fan of Trent Frederick's. I know he's one of our young guys that's came in. I believe he's number 11, but he scored a big goal in the Penguins game in the second one, and I believe his goal actually was what put us in the lead, and eventually that became the game-winning score. So, props to those guys. And then tonight against the Sabres, we won 4-1, and actually did to them what had been done to us all week, which was, even when it wasn't a power play, we were passing it around in their end of the ice. Mm-hmm. Just like, okay, looking for the right shots and stuff. And as a result of that, we won 4-1. Mm-hmm. But that was essentially what had been happening to us every other game this week, was us just standing there waiting for a shot to come. And when you're playing like that, you're not going to win. And the truth be told is that, the Sabres are not very good. So it's nice that we were able to take advantage of playing a lesser opponent like we did tonight. But at the end of the day, when we get into the playoffs, if we get into the playoffs, because right now we're 4th in the East and we aren't necessarily on the upward trajectory, if we get into the playoffs, it's going to be not many teams like the Sabres. It's going to be the opposite side of that, and we're going to have a very, very difficult time with the way that we're playing right now. And I don't really know what needs to change for the Bruins, honestly, because I don't feel like we have a lack of players. I mean, we got players all over the ice that I think are really good.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, our starting six or whatever, our front line, whatever you call it in hockey, Marchand and these guys. I mean, we've got great players all over the place, and we even have some young guys that are really playing well. So it's not a situation where the lack of talent is just obvious. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a situation like Detroit has where, there's just way more skilled teams out there, and there's only a couple people on Detroit that are, of the upper echelon talent. I mean, we've got plenty of them on our team, but we just not playing like it. So I don't know. I know that we've been, it's been mentioned multiple times by announcers and stuff, and even by I think the Bruins ownership. I heard that we're going to be pretty aggressive come the trade deadline about trying to move some people and bring in some more people. I don't know what that's going to look like, but the truth be told, it kind of worries me, honestly, because like I said, I don't think right now it's a talent issue. So I don't know if trading people away to bring in more people is going to fix the problem, because I don't think that that's addressing the problem. I don't think that the problem is that we don't have people that can play.
Yeah.
So I mean, it sounds great. Maybe it'll reinvigorate the team. Maybe it'll make them hungry again. I don't know. Maybe it will. But the truth be told, I don't feel like there's too many people on the team that I would say, oh yeah, please get rid of him. I mean, there's a lot of good players on this team. It's just we're not playing very well. So I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of worrisome to me that we're involved
Sometimes though, I think players can get into a thing where they just kind of whatever, it's middle of the regular season, who cares? And sometimes that's probably not the easiest thing for the coach to have to deal with, because I mean, you got, like you said, you have a lot of veteran players there that are used to being in the playoffs, used to being on successful teams, and so they don't prioritize
the day-to-day.
Right, day-to-day games. They don't look at it as seriously as maybe as they should. And I mean, too, when you're looking at older players, they ain't got it in them to play all out every night.
Yeah.
Because I mean, on hockey, you're playing a lot more games in a week than.
Oh, especially this year with the schedule the way it is.
Right. So I mean, the guys that are the older players or whatever, they're trying to save their bodies a little bit. So maybe they're not taking that hit, or whatever that they normally would if it meant something. So I mean, but with that being said, it's like the old thing, like you just can't turn the switch on and off. I mean, you got to be playing good hockey coming into the playoffs, and that's the reality of it. And I have no doubt that, the Bruins will be just fine. I mean, this organization doesn't have bad years. I mean, they don't win it all the time or anything like that, but they're like the Red Wings used to be. Like, it's every year, well, we're in the playoffs. Where are we going to be? Which spot? We're going to be 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. There's something to be feared when they get there. So, but I could see them making a few moves or whatever just to shake it up a little bit. Maybe, like you said, reinvigorate some of the players.
Yeah, maybe there's a chemistry issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some people that just don't fit. And if that's the case, then you just move it and hopefully get something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have I have full faith in that they'll make the right moves.
Yeah, well, they usually do.
No, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm pressing the panic button either. But, I mean, I'm just saying, like, for me, I think, like he said, chemistry can be a big one. And maybe that's what some of it has to do with, because, I mean, the biggest worry that I have is, being super aggressive in the trade deadline when I don't feel like the talent is the issue in the first place. So what are you going to do? Make all these moves to bring in talent, but I mean, talent's not the issue. So if talent's not the issue, bringing in new players might not solve that. We could still be in the exact same boat because we're focusing on not what the real issue is. But the problem is that I don't know what the real issue is, honestly. I mean, I just don't know. From what I watched, I definitely have noticed that it doesn't seem like they're very aggressive, at least this week. I mean, there was even times during the Sabres game tonight. Now, don't get me wrong, they were pretty dominant and they were in the lead for the most part, but I mean, I just saw a lot of times where guys were just lobbying around, not really going fast. It almost, at some points, I was like, is this on slow motion? I mean, it really felt that way at times. So maybe it's a scenario like Dad said where they're so used to, oh, well, don't worry about this game. It's just another game. Once we get to the playoffs, then we can start putting out full effort. But we're not going to waste our time with the Sabres here tonight. Maybe it's just that, but unfortunately, I got news for them. They're in the 4th spot in the East, and it's not by a wide margin that they are. The other teams are right behind them, and if they lobby around too much longer, we're going to be lobbying ourselves into a seat on the couch to watch the Avalanche and the Red Wings duke it out for the final. So, I mean, it's going to be...
Yeah.
Are you watching the films from 1990s or what?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, 2020 was a hell.
Yeah, is ESPN showing some reruns of the old?
Showing some NHL classics since they got the contract for
NHL. No, it's just St. Patrick's Day is one hell of a holiday. That's all it is. But anyway, yeah, no, but I mean. Red Wings are Red Wings, and Bruins are the Bruins. So, hopefully we'll get it turned around. But just like we said with the other teams, it'll be interesting to see if they do in fact get aggressive during the trade deadline, and if they do, what pieces are going to be the ones that move. Because, like I said, there's not too many guys that I look at and say, yeah, we could afford to lose him, and I wouldn't lose much sleep over it. A lot of the guys on the team, I feel have pretty important roles, so I don't know. We'll see what happens, but nonetheless, thank you guys for watching this video. If you like the content, smash the like button, build a little wall around the subscribe thing and the notifications and stuff like that. Make sure you check out Dent Sports, Denver Detroit Sports, for more of their content and
future content.
Yeah. If you enjoy, getting your daily dose of depression, then they have plenty of content for you to watch.
Yeah, bring a box of tissues.
And if you don't like,
cause some side effects.
Yeah, and if you're
whimpering,
and if you're really into the positivity and the just enjoyment of life as in general, well. Maybe check out Bars Unlimited, because you're not going to find it here on Tuned In Sports either. So, anyways.
They got the systems over there at the Bars Unlimited.
Yeah, exactly.
They know how to use the systems.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you want positivity, maybe go over there where we're not talking anything sports related. So, with that being said, I'm Bryson.
I'm Steve.
I'm Don.
See you guys in the next video.